your partner isn't a basic boo, don't give a basic gift to. Hey everyone, I'm Jess M., the owner and founder of The Market Made. Welcome. Are you trying to figure out a gift for Valentine's Day, but you don't want it to be too traditional? Is your significant other not really into the flowers and candies and like the basic gifts? Then let's get into it, because I don't really like Valentine's Day that much either. I was actually planning on getting supplies today, but it's sort of like blizzarding outside. Not blizzarding, it just like snowed a lot overnight, so I don't want to leave the house. Shoot. So I'm gonna hand make a lot of my items today. But you can always go to your local craft store for supplies, especially if you don't have power tools. So let me introduce you to what I'm making. DIY coasters or photo coasters, and I'll get into that later of why it's photo coasters. A DIY candle holder you can fill up later with like a custom candle or just like buy a candle. I'm personally going to fill them with candle wax. I just don't have the wax with me today, and that's not this type of tutorial. For plant lovers, I'm actually going to build a very easy DIY wooden plant holder. And before we get started, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Up first, DIY photo coasters. There are many ways to make these, but I'll discuss the two main ways. So first is photo transfer, which I'm not doing, but it's very easy. You get Mod Podge photo transfer. However, I do believe you need a laser printer, not an ink printer for this to work. Or maybe it's the opposite. Look it up. And that way you can actually transfer the images onto the wood coaster for a more rustic look. What I'm doing is taking images and adding them to the coasters using standard gloss Mod Podge. What I did was take extra wood I had laying around and I measured it into squares for two of my projects, the photo coasters and the wood planters I'll talk about later. I then cut all the wood in the messy dungeon that is our basement, which has no lighting currently. Side note, also always have correct lighting and take correct safety measures and wear correct protection, because I don't always do that, so don't follow my lead. After cutting the wood pieces, I sanded them outside and actually had to shovel some of the snow out of the way to do so. I will say I always forget about this, but it's always easier to sand just one wood piece before cutting it versus trying to sand smaller pieces. Just a FYI, sand first, cut it, and then you can just do a light sanding after. I searched online for some good pictures. Once you select your image or paper item, cut it to size. You then want to use a brush and paint on the Mod Podge first onto the wood coaster. Then you add your photo, and then you add more Mod Podge over the photo. To have a good seal, what is recommended is to go over it 5 times as directed, but it does not make it waterproof, unfortunately. So I actually put 3 coats on it, then sealed it with indoor-outdoor acrylic sealer to make sure it's waterproof / water resistant. What I meant by photo coasters is that you don't need to just use photos. You can use any type of like paper items. It would be sweet if you gave your sweetheart, photos of all your firsts or your trips together. And the project I'm actually working on is for Jeff's dad, Rick, who's also my #1 fan on YouTube. So shout out to Rick, and surprise, you're getting a gift for Valentine's Day, even though we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. Yes, you're welcome. If you want to incorporate family into this Valentine's Day gift, give it to a parent or grandparent, you can put photos of your kids on there. But yeah, so you can incorporate kids' drawings. You can have the kids draw on them and then just seal them with the Mod Podge. You can take refrigerator art and turn them into coasters. You can do this with cards that you liked, newspaper, excerpts from a favorite book. There are so many ways you can incorporate memories and add them to these coasters. Next up, DIY candle holders. And this one is actually also a sustainable gift, so brownie points for sustainability. I made 3 different candle holders that I'll actually fill later, but like I said, this isn't that type of tutorial. I'm not gonna DIY some candles for you, plus I don't have candle wax. First, you want to save any leftover glass jars and make sure they are thoroughly cleaned. So then you take your leftover glass jars, pickle jars, jam jars, just interesting jars in general, and you can make something of them. The first one, I used rubber bands and twine and wrapped it around the glass. And then I spray painted it. However, side note, if you want cleaner edges, you can only use rubber bands, which will make it look a little bit tidier, because when I spray painted it, the twine moved around. So it gives it like a brushed look. After letting it dry, I added a ribbon and some finishing touches, and voila. The second one, I just did the normal DIY thing of painting it, but to add texture, you can add 1 part paint and 1 part baking soda. I wanted it thicker, so I added a little bit more baking soda and did 2 coats. It is pinker than what I was imagining. It's very Pepto-Bismol-y, but it's still cute, easy, and very cheap to do. And you really can make it for anyone, especially your girl tribe. For the third one, I wanted to make a 3D effect, so I took my leaf hole puncher I used to tag my products that I send to vendors and some leftover pink cardstock. You can use hearts too if you want to keep it like a classic Valentine's Day gift, but this is what I had on hand. I was going to hot glue them, but then I actually decided to just use my Mod Podge instead. It turned out really well. It did need several coats for it to hold together. I also like the hazy glass look it left around the leaves, so I decided to Mod Podge the rest of the glass jar to get like a distorted, opaque feel. So check out my DIY candle holders. For my last DIY gift, for all the plant moms and pops out there, I made a little wood planter from scratch. Like I said earlier, if you don't have the power tools to do this, you can just go get square wood pieces from your local craft supplier and glue them together. For this DIY, I wanted to keep it as natural feeling as possible, and I didn't want to cut any more pieces, which is why the bottom's a little weird. I glued them together using waterproof Gorilla Glue because it's a little bit more eco-friendly. It takes about 24 hours to dry, but I didn't have 24 hours. So after the sides were dry enough, I glued the bottom and then sprayed it immediately with indoor-outdoor sealant. Since I'm using this wood planter for air plants inside, I decided not to drill holes in the bottom to irrigate, but planters usually need holes drilled in the bottom. So if you are planning on watering the plant consistently, you probably need to drill some holes in the bottom. If you're choosing to put a succulent in it, you might not have to, but I'm not a very good plant mom, so you might want to look it up. Obviously, you can add personal touches to this. You can do a photo on the planter, which would be really cute. You could even do some wood burning or wood carving. You could paint it to be a little bit more modern. You could hot glue rocks onto it to give it a more earthy feel. I wanted to keep mine more classic though, but also I ran out of time. So Story time. This week I was actually supposed to do a video on a bathroom closet remodel, but many fails came up. So you can check out my Instagram account on all the delays at the Market Made. So yeah, so that was this week's video was supposed to be, and then I had to completely do a 180 on Monday. So Monday night I came up with the Valentine's Day theme, and then all day today, Tuesday or yesterday for you guys, I literally had to make this, film it, edit it, and publish it for Wednesday at 8 a.m. so I didn't screw up my algorithm. So yeah, it has been a busy day and I'm not even halfway done. I hope you enjoyed these semi-non-traditional Valentine's Day gift ideas. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. That'd be very nice of you. And remember to subscribe to the Market Made channel and click on the notification button to stay up to date on all my content. And as always, I hope you have a great day out there. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, bye. Next up, DIY candle holders.
So it was, yeah.